welcome to Afternoon Tea with me, Brett Pendragon of UK Versus. Today we are going to be looking at the demo article that was updated by uploaded by Bill Stark yesterday, and we're going to be talking over how my super secret notes can go into this article as well, because I did ask a bit about some of the demo information. As people were, when we've been talking about games, when we're talking about the demographics and where the data has been coming from, it has been a thing that I've been asking for, where this data has come from, and I asked that when I was there. So hopefully I can offer a bit more insight into these articles as well. Then we're going to take a look at the Attack on Titan playmats. They have very sneakily dropped in distributed websites, and I have managed to track them down. They're not officially out, but it counts as a public space, so I'm going to take a hit on that if I need to, but they're out in public. I count that as fair game. And then we're going to take a look at what is in my box. I've been waiting for this box since February. I ordered it in February. Technically, I've been waiting for it for a couple of months. Big thanks to everyone that's here. I do enjoy doing these afternoon teas. Last week when we were traveling to Vegas, I did miss talking to you guys. I've got my afternoon tea. So let's begin. Over the past few weeks, we've talked about the tools that we use to make universities more accessible game to players. We're going to talk about a new tool that we started rolling out earlier this year: updated demo decks. That would be these bad boys, which now have a code on the back, which is something I'm sure Bill will get into in a little bit in the downline. The goal of a demo. One of the keys to successful TCG is building critical mass of people who learn the game and convert to long-term players. The top three ways to learn a TCG are historically from a friend or a family, digital onboarding demo, or learning a demo in a store, convention, or a gaming space. I learned from watching the Proto Man versus Mega Man videos on the old Jasco channel a while back. I found this game primarily online, but when it came to things like when I was learning Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh, it was through friends or family friends. I've learned games through demos at things like UK Games Expo, so yeah, that makes perfect sense. And especially when it comes through friends and family members and stuff like that, because they're usually passionate about the game, and you get the passionate when you get demoed at conventions. If your demoer has passion for the game, that passion goes through in when they're teaching it, and you get a little bit rubbed off on you. We regularly demo our game at conventions around the world. I've got to give it to them now, because they're doing a demo and they're doing a convention in Oceania. I've got to give them that they're technically correct, the best kind of correct. They did try to be MCM, but unfortunately price points didn't work out, as we found out over the weekend. But they will be doing a convention in Oceania, so they're technically correct. They do demo games at conventions around the world, and track data based on those demos to understand where we can strengthen demo experiences. At Gen Con last year, we made some important discoveries. At 45 minutes, our demo was one of the longest ones in the game hall. That's fair. Oh, I'll be back in a second. We've got so much post going on, mate. You got it? Sorry about that. My partner's ordered sushi. I'll be back. So at 45 minutes, they have one of the longest demos within the game. Few players convert from the demo to in-store play, and fewer still were playing months later. I mean, that's fair at a convention. You have a lot to take in. Many players who took the demo, even those with store backgrounds in TCGs, felt it was too hard to learn and chose to pursue other games instead. That is something that came up during the summit, that we are often rated low down in like the top 10 card games at the minute. Like we'll be like 10th or around 10th or 9th in the top 10 TCGs, but in terms of difficulty, we're usually in the top 3. Uh, the goal of a strong demo is to get players to have fun in a sustainable fashion. Lets them feel like an early mastery over the core concepts of the game and building excitement about diving into the demos. Our demo program, despite its best efforts of the extraordinary demo team members, wasn't getting the job done. Needs change. Yeah, when you try to explain all the mechanics that are available in this game immediately to someone, it can be overwhelming. I mean, when I was a new player, I tried to watch a stream and I could not follow along at all. I thought I'd just learn from watching, and the information overload was a bit crushing. It was only once I sat back and watched the Learn to Play Jasco videos where they sort of ran through a game and went through it step by step that you can do it. So reevaluating demos to be more scripted, more linear, basically saying these are what enhancers are, these are what it makes sense. You don't want to overwhelm people immediately, but you don't want to run the risk of them coming in expecting the game to be one thing that they demoed and then immediately be overturned by, oh, this is a much more complicated game than I was expecting. Because, yeah, you might have a little bit more, but you're still going to get that same turnover of players because the demo misconstrued how complex the game is, if that makes sense. So, reevaluating the data that they got from Gen Con, they set about building a new demo experience that would be more accessible to new players, reducing mental load, introducing core concepts of commit, enhance, block, attack, and check system. Perfect. And will be approximately about 15 minutes. Now, that's how long some people in US think a total game should be. Well, we'll get to another time. Lohan and Chris Bromley took on the task of building the experience, decided to use our own characters on Suwon Kong and Hercules. It annoys me that it's Hercules and not Heracles. I did bring that up as well. From popular mythologies around the world, yep, Hercules is Roman, but this one is Greek. And Suwon Kong is a legendary figure of Chinese mythology. So the teams, players who weren't necessarily a fan of one particular world. Yeah, so you rather than going here's an Attack on Titan one, using generic ones means that people won't be going in there with some biases. If you have an Attack on Titan demo deck like we have here, and some people don't like Attack on Titan, they may be drawn, they may not want to take part in the actual demo. The experience is scripted, so this allows play cards to be played in sequence, and this means that it can be committed to episodic memory because you can just keep replaying the same game over and over and allowing you to build muscle memory, allowing you to build an understanding for how this game kind of flows. Because you may not get it on your first run through, but on your fifth run through, you probably could. Although at a convention, you probably haven't got time to run through that many times, but you can come back a few times and keep doing it. There are some key differences between demo decks and the regular cards found in Booster and Challenger series. They're not tournament legal. That makes perfect sense. I mean, they're not that powerful, so why would they be? And the balance allows them to keep them simplistic. Characters are incredibly simplified. Yep, they're very, very basic, very quick. With one ability and much low health to ensure quick gameplay, so you wouldn't want them to be legal. And most of the cards in the deck are vanilla or French vanilla, which was previously talked about last week, where these cards will be cards that have no abilities, or they will only have abilities such as stun, powerful EX, the evergreen abilities. They may have some enhancers, as I said, to get into the game, but just showing someone the back and forth of the game makes sense going forward. Demo Part 2, demo experience at conventions is great, but we also wanted to improve an onboarding experience for players who can't make it to a con. We also knew a digital onboarding experience is an incredibly powerful tool and to help in this space, but because it's a unique nature of our licensing obligations, such as I think Bandai owning the My Hero video gaming rights, which means we cannot make any kind of universe's video game. We aren't able to build a digital TCG experience that lets players play all of our cards together. Instead, we settled on a digital experience to walk players through scripted tabletop demo or a game general of universes. To deliver high quality experience, we partner with an organization called DISD, who built these kind of tutorials for many games. Working with our partner at DISD, Drew, the head of the product team, put together a demo experience that players can use in person or with their first Universes product they purchased. So this is something we got to experience last weekend. Mr. Cardwell brought up a very good point that now that we technically have a video game, that we might be able to get a Universes channel on Twitch, which would be very, very cool. I just think Tam wants that so he can also then dominate the streamer boards for most popular channel in there. That's a joke. Don't come at me, Tam. But this is very, very cool. I have already sent this demo link off to Magic players, Yu-Gi-Oh players, Pokemon players, and a couple of store owners I know, in the hopes that I can get them to give me some feedback, see if it is something that intrigues them. And having had a look at it myself, it does feel very basic, very introductory, and very, very cool. My only feedback would be if you, rather than having just the Attack on Titan demo decks we got, it'd be cool if we could get some kind of paper print off asset for the Hercules or Sun Wukong, so that people can print them out themselves. Because if you've already got your first product, you've already made an investment into the game, which is very, very cool. But retaining someone who's made that choice to invest in the game before it, because if someone buys the product, plays the demo, and goes, "I don't like it," they've then got that negative connotation against the game. Going, "I invested this much money, I put my time into the demo, and I don't like it." So they're less likely to give it a chance again in the future. But if they've just had to print some stuff off, put some time into coding, and go play the demo and go, "This is actually pretty cool. I like to try out actual cards," or if their experience is a demo first, rather than investing their time, their money into product, then learning it and going, yeah, I'm not a bigger fan, it may lead to more retention. But at the same time, it could also lead. But the amount of money they would also lose is minuscule from people just buying a deck and going, I didn't like it. That's just me. I could be wrong. It's weird that Matt's not said anything yet. So here we have son of Hercules, son of Zeus. That's annoying. It's Hercules, son of Jupiter, or Heracles, son of Zeus. Commit this attack gets 4 damage, 615. Yeah, that is a basic character. And Sun Wukong, Monkey King. Commit this attack gets +4 speed, and it's a 615. Yeah. So they're polar opposites of each other. Both 45 cards, and that's the end of the article. If you're interested in guiding someone to demo the game, you can send them over to the Digital Tutorial app, which I have. And they're going hopefully, we're also going to be many gaming conventions around the world, including Gen Con later this summer. So we've got confirmation that UVS is going to be at Gen Con. We did find out what some of their plans are going to be. I can't go into the details, but I'm very hyped for those plans if they pull them off. And it does make me very sad that I won't be at Gen Con. We've only got additional demo decks in relation to the worlds we are visiting in upcoming sets. Themed specifically to those IPs to create more. That's cool. Yeah, but we had a Gen Con. We had a Gen Con trip on the Wish, but we didn't know what UVS. We didn't know UVS was going to be at there. So last weekend, one of the things that they brought up was, we didn't know if UVS were going to be there because they weren't part of the catalog, and we didn't know what they were going to be doing. But hopefully they get to pull off all their plans, which would be very, very cool. But UVS is a very cautious company at the minute, is where I'm going to put it. they don't want to put anything out officially until the ink is dry and they're 100% sure it's going to be going ahead. Good to see you, Connor. I've just recorded a marketing video with Card Goblin, and you came up during the recording. So I think this is demo. Yes, that's cool. Let's come to my notes and let's see how my notes will help me here. So when it came to demoing over the last couple of weeks, my biggest thing has been, where did this data come from? Because Lenoco traveled around the world, giving people drafts and then giving them questionnaires on drafts, but there was no demos happening, which, can make sense. Why would you demo at a big event? But it's not like the New Zealand one and ours weren't in a store where you could demo with others and get some feedback. So during the Q&A portion, and by Q&A portion I mean when we could, I asked about the demos, the data, where that demo data came from, and who exactly was being found for that data, because the EU wouldn't be making up much of that data. To which they agreed. They said, no, EU Oceania at this moment in time are not making up a lot of the demo data, but hopefully if they start doing cons from around the world, we will start making up some of the data. The data primarily comes from Seattle, and it's found through new players and new members of the company, which is a very, very cool thing for me. That if they're bringing in new members of the company to UVS, that they're teaching them the game, which should be the case to them, but they're teaching them the game and they're getting their feedback on the game from the people in the company, because personally, I think they're some of the people that should be able to identify the issues of the game, and it's their livelihoods on the line. So if they can't understand the game, how are they going to be able to sell it if they don't understand it? They need to be able to understand and play the game if they're going to sell it, design it, create creative assets for it, create POS and POP for it. Every aspect of this game, you need to have some level of understanding of the game. So teaching the game makes sense. Demos are also given out to people who are part of the design team. The people who the design team know. They're also done from Gen Con, which was brought messages, and other game industry professionals. So people who write articles, people who work in other aspects of the TCG industry, are also subject to these kinds of demos to give their feedback. And that is a very cool thing that I took away from that, because gameplay professionals and like people who have made their careers from this are going to be able to give a lot more constructive feedback than high-end players from our end. Because if you ask if you ask a chess master why they made that move, they're not going to be able to explain it, because it's just second nature to them. But if you can get a person who has made their career from articulately wording how moves are made, why moves are made, to come and articulately look at a demo, you can then create a much more articulate demo. So to me, that is very, very cool.